The bodies of Robert Fuller and Malcolm Harsh were discovered hanging from trees in two public venues, 10 days and 50 miles apart.
Dozens marched the streets of Tacoma to protest police brutality and racial inequality.
We've been hearing one thing, then we hear another, and we just want to know the truth.
Let's talk about healing, because our youth are becoming more empowered as they observe their parents and their elders and their mentors blazing new trails, attempting to crack this mold of survival and provide them with more opportunities. Some of the challenges we are seeing in our youth is that they're trying to thrive using outdated survival tools. Now, when we see this maladaptive behavior in our youth, we can pinpoint that right away and label it as behavior. But what we quite often miss is some of those rusty hammers that these kids are using are from our toolbox. So if we want to effectively heal the youth, we must heal ourselves first. Ask yourself, how does the trauma that I'm carrying affect my daily life? Do I really laugh off things that I should heal from and process? The Black woman's burden is so deep. And dealing comes with a price.
And so David, it sounds like what you're saying is that there's some level of personal responsibility, and it's not fair because white kids don't have to do this, but you do have to look at what you're wearing, and you do have to look at how you're walking, and that's just the reality.
Well, honestly, I disagree with that, because you tell me what didn't Trayvon Martin do that our parents teach us? He did everything that he was supposed to do. He acknowledged that he was there. He got on the phone. He called somebody. He said, hey, you need to get away from me. He ran away. It's like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you put your hands up, you tell them that you don't have a gun. The thing that America is telling our children, and this is the sad part, that black folks, if you don't make me comfortable, we will kill you.
It's a very, very long road. There are no hills, there are no mountains, there are no peaks. It's just a very, very long road. There is no day, there is no night, there is just simply twilight, and you continue walking. And this experience is shared. It is shared with Black people. That we continue walking, whether you are awake, whether you are asleep, whether you have reached your peak and become successful, whether you've forgotten us in the night, whether you've gone down a different path, we continue walking. And I think, not for the first time, but for the first time in a while, Black people are so tired that they're willing to sit for a moment and see what it is their community does. We need to be lifted. I need someone to pick me up. That's my story. And as a Black woman, I have quietly continued walking. And even if I screamed, no one heard. And if someone did hear, it was too loud. And it was inappropriate, and it was poorly placed. I ask that you consider how many Black people around you in that moment are feeling like they would like to take a seat and would like for you to stand and you to walk and you to take on the journey so that we can be an empowered community that's decolonized and bright. I don't know what a decolonized Seattle looks like, because I don't even know what my own mind would be like if it were truly decolonized itself. That's how I feel as a Black person, to be honest with you. I don't have the answer. I just have a lot of silence within me, a lot of anger within me, a lot of desire to sit for a moment and not keep walking. So while y'all gather today and have these discussions, recognize that Black people are exhausted, and they have every right to be. And this is not so you can carry guilt. This is so you can understand what your community member is going through, and so that you can empower them, so that you can have unity. And within those understandings comes liberation.
Southern trees bear a strange fruit, blood on the leaves, and blood at the root. Black body swinging.
On Wednesday, the medical examiner ruled his death a homicide. The cause, respiratory arrest due to physical restraint. Methamphetamines.
We want to see justice for my son. And we should have had to wait 3 months.
My son was a good kid. He is dead at 17. I'm not going to be quiet. It's not just going to disappear. I'm going to keep fighting, keep putting his name out there, keep letting people know who my chance was.
Can you imagine all of this trauma stuffed inside with nowhere to go? So it takes up residency inside of us, and it churns and it burns, and it changes the way we see things and feel things and think about things, and it alters our entire view on life, robbing many of us of our dreams.
And at this point, has anyone from King County said, "I'm sorry"?
No.
We apologize.
No.
We are all victims of that same ideology, to suck it up and just keep on going. The only survival tools that we had to survive the beatings, the raping, the murdering, and the outright terror of Black women. Just suck it up or give it to Jesus.
I got the call from a neighbor. I rushed to the hospital, and everything after that, during that, is a blur. You don't know what to do. You don't know what the truth is. I didn't even know who had shot him. And then I found out it was the police in this botched operation. But then they said he fired at them, which was not true. But that was told to turn it against him, to make him a criminal.
Stop and listen to a Black woman's truth. Southern trees, poplars, weeping willows, magnolias, like the ones I grew up climbing in my grandmother's yard in Mississippi. They had a nasty habit of hanging the broken and twisted bodies of my kinfolk like ornaments on Christmas trees. I thought of the countless number of Black women who stood in the shadows and watched the fruit that they bore and nurtured hung for the spectacle of white family picnics.
You know, I think we can make this pretty simple, because the bottom line is we're living in a post-Trayvon Martin, post-Zimmerman trial world. And any parent of color, a Latino or African-American parent, must have these conversations with their children. It is just really a reality. It's the same conversation, I think, that many parents have about stranger danger. It's the same conversation that parents have with their children about look both ways before you cross the street.
If you are a parent, because I'm having a conversation about stranger danger with my kids, and I say, don't get into any cars, don't go with somebody.
But my point, Allison, is when you are a parent of color, the conversation that you do have those conversations about stranger danger, but you also must have the very normal conversations that we must have, which is you've got to realize that people will see the color of your skin before they see the content of your character. Right. You've got to realize that you've got to make sure when you have these police encounters, if you're going to have them, and you probably will have them, that you have to make them as short and sweet as possible. Yes, show your hands to police officers. Yes, be very respectful. And unfortunately, I don't think that white parents have to have those conversations.
Billie Holiday made me listen, not only to her truth or those Black women's truth, but to a truth that I personally had repressed. Here is a fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rot, for the tree to drop.